This is David, Mr. DIY Solar and Tennessee Valley Solar. I am here in front of the large array that we are building and have some updates that we've made here at our off-grid cabin, and I thought I'd walk through that. Come with me as we check out the growing array that we have here that's going to wound up hopefully being around 8,000 watts of power. Just this morning we mounted these 7 310 watt panels here on the roof of the lean-to here, and we're going to start wiring those up soon, hopefully. We've got the negative is here on this end of this string of panels, and the positive is on the other. All 7 of these panels are connected together on one string, and so I need to make an extension cord that runs from here all the way back down to where the equipment's going to be set up for connecting the panels to. Then I'll also need to run a positive from over here down to where the equipment is at. So unfortunately we had a bunch of rain earlier today, so we took care of some stuff that was inside, but we were able to get these 7 panels up, and I've got some video here that generally lays out a little bit about what we did to mount the panels. Basically there are 2 runs of 2x4s. There's one there and another 2x4 over there, and we've got them screwed down with bolts and a large washer. And if I zoom in, you can see, unfortunately it's been raining so things are a little muddy, but you can see the bolt and washer setup that's holding down that end of the panels, and we've got that all the way down with that large washer and bolt holding down the panels all the way down the array. Soon we're hoping to extend this roof on up and put in several more rows of panels, and we're going to have about a 1-foot gap in between each row, which will allow me to work my way down the row if I need to service any of the panels. So I'm going to walk through a little bit more of what we're doing for that in a second. And what we're doing is we are putting bolts like this in, and the bolt is going to go right there and hold the panels down like that all the way down the array of panels. And this is how they look after you have put that washer and the bolt screwed down into the 2x4. As you can see, there's a bunch of mud, and there's the 2x4. You can barely see, but the 2x4 up there has got that bolt screwed into it. And of course we've got this one down, and the same all the way down the array of panels there. I pulled 2 runs of this 222, which means it's 3 pieces of 2 gauge are pulled through this conduit, as well as 4 pieces of 8 gauge and 2 pieces of 6 gauge that come up out of the conduit over there. And I also pulled 2 pieces of what's essentially Ethernet cable. One's Ethernet cable and one's slightly larger than regular Ethernet cable. I'm going to use the second one for data messaging, for pressing buttons or doing automation stuff from over there in the shipping containers. So all 3 of those things are running through that conduit, these conduits, AC on the bigger wire, DC on these smaller wires, and then the data running on these little guys here. So I have to bore a hole through the top of the wall there and pull the 2 gauge up through there. I've already got the hole bored and running for the smaller DC stuff. There's run up through that hole there, and that comes through up there and comes around, and I've got that hooked up here to the system, and I've got 3 sets of breakers there. One is for the power that's going to be feeding here into this EPever 4000 watt charge controller, and then second breaker is feeding this Growatt inverter, and the third one is for DC output, the DC power that's going to be flowing back to the shipping container area. And the Growatt's AC output is going to be flowing through this inverter. That inverter is going to take the power, and this is producing regular straight 240. This is going to take that 240 and turn it into what Americans call 240, which is actually split phase, or 2 legs of 110, and that's going to output up into a double pole breaker here in this breaker box. And I'll have to take out this jumper that's at the top once I've got that double pole breaker in there, and this will be providing the split phase 220 240 into this breaker box. So I've got this end of the wire wired up. I've got to finish wiring this, as well as setting up a set of breakers just like this on the other end of the wire. And when that's done, I'll be just about ready to connect those panels to the system here. Fortunately, because of the rain and everything else, I think I'm going to have to hook those panels up next time I'm up here, but this should be enough to just about get close to being able to turn this system on. So hopefully next time I'll be able to actually connect the panels in and turn on the inverter and produce a little power. Next I'm going to go take a look at the kitchen, or outdoor kitchen. And this is the outdoor kitchen and deck area that we have set up here. Just today we finally finished putting up some more of the countertop. We've mounted this little stove sitting here next to the barbecue grill, and I keep a piece of granite over the eyes on the stove to keep the water out and get you a little bit more counter space right there. And there's my shower tent. Hoping to finally upgrade from the shower tent relatively soon, but the idea for all of this is I'm going to have I've got a propane tank here in the bottom of the barbecue grill, and I'm going to put a splitter diverter on that and feed to the water heater that's right here, as well as to the barbecue grill and to the stove, the range top there. All of that pulling propane from right there. And then I've got a high pressure battery powered water pump right here that I'm going to rig up, and using splitters and a bunch of garden hose, got some short pieces of garden hose there, I'm going to run and hopefully be able to feed water from a large tank and run that through the pump, and cold water will split off and go over to the sink, and then the other side of the split for the cold water will go into the heater, and we'll be able to pull hot water from that and send that to the sink. Running hot water coming off the hot water heater over to the sink, as well as hot water going into the shower. So hopefully, with all the propane stuff right here and all the stuff that needs to use water right here, we hoping that we're going to have running hot and cold water at the sink, as well as having our stove and oven and all of that running right here. So once we get that set up, I'll make an update on that. But this is hopefully going to be our outdoor kitchen area, and now that the oven's finally moved, it had been sitting on this table, so that's great. I've got my table back and got that over there. And so basically, when we go to make anything hot, we can just open the door and it'll go in here, turn on the gas, and then that should be feeding out of that and running propane to anything that needs gas. So I'll keep working on this in the weeks to come, and hopefully soon I'll have the solar set up as well as the hot water and propane set up here. So I'm going to work on that for a little while longer here, and if I get some of that done tonight and tomorrow morning, I'll attach a video at the end of this. But thanks for watching my update, and hopefully this has been useful. I frequently make videos about off-grid living as well as setting up solar systems, so please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time for the next update.